For many decades, people's minds have been captivated by the mystery of Easter Island, a remote patch of volcanic land far off in the Pacific Ocean. But our planet is home to thousands of such isolated islands. So what makes this one so peculiar? The mystery isn't hidden in the island itself, but rather in the gigantic stone statues that cover it. Who created the world-famous enormous stone heads? Did they serve a specific purpose? Where did their creators come from? And where did they vanish? Well, it seems that the answers are finally within reach. Watch this video and satisfy your curiosity. As you learn all the truths about Easter Island, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Curiosity is the fuel for an inquisitive mind. So, what do we know about the island itself? Rapa Nui, as it's called by its first inhabitants, is a Chilean territory situated in the South Pacific Ocean. It's so far away that you can easily consider it one of the most remote places on the world map. It lies 1,900 kilometers from Pitcairn, its nearest neighbor. Chile itself is 3,700 kilometers to the west, and the only way to get there is by plane. If you want to visit this far-flung destination, you'll need to spend 5 hours flying from Santiago, Chile, to Easter Island. The island is only 100 square kilometers in size, yet despite being so small, it is home to 887 massive stone statues. Here are some interesting facts you may not know about them. The statues are called Moai, and they were believed to have been carved sometime between the 13th and 15th centuries. The Rapa Nui statues are easily recognized by their peculiar faces. They have long noses, broad chins, rectangular ears, thick eyebrows, and deep-set eyes. Interestingly, the nostrils curve like fishhooks. Initially, people thought that the statues were only heads, but surprisingly, it was discovered in May 2012 during excavations that they have entire bodies attached, which had been buried beneath the earth. In fact, the statues are quite tall. The largest stands at 10 meters high and weighs 90 tons, but that's not the record. One statue that was unearthed was incomplete, but based on scientific calculations, it would have been 21 meters tall and weighed around 297 tons. Still, the visible heads make up about 3/8 of the total statue size. As for the arms, they were sculpted alongside the bodies, resting in various positions. Most of the statues, 834 out of 887, were carved from a material called tuff, which is actually compressed volcanic ash. Interestingly, all of the statues, except for one group, are facing inward, meaning their backs are turned to the ocean. It's believed that this is because the statues were thought to be protectors of the villagers, watching over the settlements. The only exceptions to this rule can be found at Ahu Akivi, a sacred place for the people of Rapa Nui. There is one unique statue on the island. It is the only one found in a kneeling position. Its name is Tukuturi. Scientists believe this statue represents an ancient singer, as its pose resembles the posture people took during the Rui festival. The statue's head is raised quite high, and you can even notice a beard. Tukuturi looks much more human-like than the other statues. Its smaller size and the unusual material, red stone from Punapau, are elements that set it apart from the others. All these facts are pretty intriguing, aren't they? Keep watching. There are plenty of mysteries to unravel. People continue to wonder how such heavy statues were distributed across the entire island. Moreover, when Europeans first arrived on the island in 1722, they found a small local population of only between 1,000 to 3,000 people. How could this correlate with the hundreds of statues on the island? There have been numerous theories about how the statues were moved. One of the most popular, especially among mystery enthusiasts, was the belief that the statues were created and transported by aliens. But even if you're fond of this theory, we're sorry to debunk it. The stone used for the statues originated on the island itself. Most of the material came from an extinct volcano located in the northeastern part of Easter Island, not from another planet. The mystery of how the Rapa Nui people managed to move the statues has puzzled researchers for years. In the 1980s, some of them decided to recreate a statue to test whether it could be moved using only tools that would have been available to the indigenous people. It seemed impossible, but soon after, an American archaeologist succeeded in moving a 10-ton replica. Several decades later, another group of American scientists showed that the natives could have tied ropes around the statues and moved them with a walking motion. They backed up their theory with a real-life experiment, moving a life-sized replica about 100 meters using this method. This theory may explain why Rapa Nui folklore claims that the statues walked with the help of magic. It sheds light on how the statues were transported to their designated spots. But there's still one big question left. How could such a small population create so many magnificent stone monuments? A recent study was conducted to estimate the maximum number of inhabitants during the peak of the island's civilization. The results were surprising. It turned out that up to 7,500 people could have lived comfortably on the island. At least 19% of the land could have been covered by sweet potato fields, which were the main source of food for the population. In addition to crops, the natives consumed a large amount of seafood and fish. So with this many people, there were enough hands to create these impressive stone masterpieces. But what happened to them? Why did they disappear? Initially, it was believed that the population's decline was due to ecocide. Natives deforested large areas, cutting down palm trees to make space for statue transportation and agriculture. They thought the trees would grow back quickly. It was a misleading concept. The environmental deterioration was thought to have caused famine, which in turn led to wars and even cannibalism. However, today, this theory has been proven wrong. First of all, the inhabitants of Rapa Nui seem to be highly skilled agricultural engineers. They deliberately fertilized their fields with volcanic rocks. In fact, further research revealed that people lived on the island for many centuries, and the population only began to decline when Europeans started visiting. A much more realistic and tragic explanation is also the most obvious one. South American slave raids frequented the island throughout the 19th century, with half of the indigenous population taken away. Moreover, European traders introduced new diseases to the island, diseases the locals had no immunity to, along with forced migrations. These factors led to the tragic decline of the nation that gave the world the mystery of Easter Island.